morning, and welcome to LNG Marketplace Weekly News Flash. Here's the latest news we've collected for you from all over the media. According to the Hellenic Shipping News, the European natural gas prices are at a historical low and below the cost of shipping gas from US to Europe, thanks to a rising gas export war between Russia and US, which is, of course, much to the delight of the European consumers. Russia can send supplies to the European market both through pipelines and via LNG vessels. That is not the case for US gas exporters, which still need a higher European market price to cover their operational costs. It's a buyer's market, and Europe is buying. The British Diamond, a tanker originally travelling from the Arctic region to Belgium with a cargo of Russian LNG, at the last moment has been sent instead to Israel. This change of destination just before arriving indicates how quickly natural gas traders need to act in this market. There is room for more diversions, as European stocks are 74% full, about 17% above their 5-year average. As European inventories are filling rapidly, traders may start looking at filling underground storage in the US or choose to float cargoes on the water, waiting for better prices. This piece of news we found on RigZone. According to Bloomberg, the price premium for later contracts, or contango, is building up for both spot Asian LNG prices and the UK benchmark. Given the price gap and cost of storing LNG, current freight rates allow for floating storage opportunities in September, October and November this year in both Northeast Asia and Atlantic. Contango definitely benefits ship owners. One vessel, the Neo Energy, spent more than 2 months idling at sea in Asia, and it eventually discharged the fuel in Japan. On Yahoo.com, we have found that the Arctic Sea Route has opened for the summer, with first Yamal LNG cargo sailing towards Asia. The route is frozen for most of the year, but is being increasingly used during the summer as ice clears quicker, and for longer as the climate changes. The vessels are now able to cross the route without the use of icebreakers to clear their path, which of course cuts the cost and time to access Asian markets. The Doha-based Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF as it's known, is seeing huge opportunities for its LNG exporting member countries to secure new demand, as China has practically blocked US LNG shipments by introducing a 25% tariff. Chinese LNG imports are expected to grow by 19%, and the increase in other Asia-Pacific LNG imports is projected to be much less, as Japan and Korea demand is stagnant, as stated in Hellenic Shipping News. The LNG industry needs to up its game on both CO2 and methane emissions if it is to gain social acceptance that LNG is part of the climate change solution, as opposed to part of the problem. Oil and gas companies are beginning to adopt emissions reductions targets, but have barely scratched the surface of what is possible. If you want to know more, visit the Natural Gas World website for the entire analysis. The topic of emissions is also approached in the study published by Science Daily in the article How to Produce Natural Gas While Storing Carbon Dioxide. As we know, that although natural gas is the cleanest hydrocarbon, it still emits CO2. This apparently could change, as the new research from the University of Texas opens the possibility of a totally different kind of fracking, where captured CO2 is injected in deep-sea methane hydrate deposits. As the CO2 replaces the trapped methane, which could be extracted, thus this kind of fracking would be making it carbon neutral. The modular and scalable LNG plant, Okra Energy, is the first small natural gas liquefaction facility in Peru, and one of only 5 in all Latin America. The entirety of Okra Energy's LNG production has been pre-sold, with subsequent liquefaction trains under contract, which reflects the demand in Latin America for LNG. The LNG plant can service off-grid markets via a virtual pipeline of shipments by ISO intermodal containers transported via truck, rail and/or ship. This we read on World Oil and RigZone. According to the US energy and safety regulators, Cheniere Energy has still to take several steps before the agencies would authorise the return to service of 2 LNG storage tanks that leaked at the Sabine Pass LNG export terminal in Louisiana. This piece of news we found on Finance Yahoo. And here comes another piece of news about Cheniere. Together with the construction and engineering firm Bechtel, Cheniere have completed the first commissioning cargo of LNG at the second liquefaction plant in Corpus Christi, as the project gets closer to starting up. This we read on Cron. Last but not least, the Port of Virginia will become the first US port to join LNG, an industry coalition aimed at accelerating the adoption of LNG as a marine fuel. Port of Virginia joins the Vancouver, Rotterdam, Singapore and Yokohama Kawasaki ports as members of LNG. LNG as a ship fuel is currently only available in Jacksonville, Florida, and Port Fulton, Louisiana, with 2 other sites under development, as we read on FreightWaves. That's it for this week. Tune in next week for more news, and until then, thanks for tuning in.